so we're going to have a look at all the applications, and I'm going to use the Focuser Test app, which tests Alpaca and ASCOM. I'm going to load that up first. Then we'll look at Alpaca, we'll look at the ASCOM Driver, and we'll look at the other apps that you can run with this S3 Focuser. So, as part of setting up the project, you would have downloaded the ASCOM Test app. Let's install that application. Right, so here we are in the project folder, and I put the test client down here in this folder, and what we'll do is we'll just run this. So this application, as well as the Windows application, if you download a new version of this, it needs to be installed from the same version as the current installed. If you don't have it installed, that's not a problem. But if you've installed it and you're doing an upgrade of this ASCOM app, it has to be loaded from the same directory that the initial one or the current one on your system has been installed from. The only way to get around that is to remove it first in Windows Control Panel. So let's run the setup program. Right, so it's ready to install. So we'll just go install. And it's now running. It wants me to know where I want to put the log files for this application. I'll just stick them into here like this, and I'll close that, and this is what the application looks like. All right, so it's got a number of menu options, exit, settings, about .c for connect, .d for disconnect. This is the connection tab, which we can choose. We'll bring up the ASCOM teaser in a moment. And this is something about the application. And there's some information about the driver. And all this information will be loaded once we actually connect to a physical one. And at the moment, we're not connected. All right. So these values here mean nothing because we're not connected. So go into connection, and we'll get ready to have a look at ASCOM. Right, so we'll use that application to test Alpaca. So there are a number of ways in which this can be done, and we expect at some stage for a form like this, which sets the IP address and what port we're using and what if it's running Discovery and all the other bits and pieces. And we can also have a look via the Profile Explorer to have a look at the drivers that have actually been loaded. So let's just look at this first, and then we'll load the driver. So this is I'm running the ASCOM Profile Explorer, and there's ASCOM drivers for other projects. I'm going to Focuser drivers, so here we are, and basically there's nothing there. All right. And what we'll do now is we'll actually go and create an Alpaca driver for us using the ASCOM Test app. So here we've got the ASCOM Test app. If I click on choose, it's going to look for. So when I first tried this with the ASCOM app, I could not see or could not find the Alpaca server. And the reason for that is because the default situation is the Alpaca server is disabled and stopped. So I'm using the management server, and I'll enable it and I'll start it. So now that I know that it's running, I can go back to the ASCOM app, and when I click choose, I would expect it to find the Alpaca server because it's running a special discovery service on it. And I would expect this box to go green. So it has gone green. And it's saying that, oh, hang on a minute, I found a new Alpaca device. So there we go. And it says please click this button to create the dynamic driver. So we'll do that, and when you press OK, you'll be asked for administrator approval, and we go, okay, that's fine, yes. And it's come back and it said, right, it's my myesp32s3 and it's an Alpaca driver. And we can have a look at properties if we want. And see here, it's the correct port number, the correct IP, the correct port, discovery. It enables the trace by default and everything else, and we can just click OK. So there it is. And if I click OK, I will be able to connect to the Focuser. So it's selected that, and now what we'll do is we'll run connect, and it says it, here it comes. So it's connected, and if I have a look at, where is it, motor tab, it's telling me position is 2176, and on this one, it's the same. So let's go, okay, let's go to like 5176. At the moment up here, there's a thing called is moving. We would expect it to change, and we would expect the position to change. And so I could say, okay, we'll move to 5176. And you can see here that the position is going to be updated. It's now 3, it's now up there, and is moving. And it's still winding its way up, 4909, 5109. Here it is now, it says 5176. And that should be idle, which is what we expect. So this is the label for the moving state, and it says idle or moving. So let's just go back the other way, and we would expect this now. You see that's to changing. So that's all okay. Let's just stop it. And we can have a look at the driver information, and it's an absolute Focuser. So we're controlling the Focuser without any issue. And that took like a matter of minutes. So we know Alpaca's working. Well, for the ASCOM drivers, of course, you download the ASCOM driver. There is also a separate PDF. So I'm back in my project folder, and I've done the ASCOM app test client. And let's just drop out of there. And for ASCOM, I've downloaded the driver and the ASCOM user guide. And so I'm going to run this to install it. So I'm going to accept the argument, and I'm going to install it. Not bothered to read the HTML file because I've read it 100 times already. So let's now do the same thing that we did in Alpaca, but this time select an ASCOM driver. Right, so when I installed the ASCOM Test app, it created a folder in my start menu called My Focuser Pro. If I go into there, here's the app. So let's run this app. Here we are now. And this time, of course, we are looking to use the ASCOM driver that I've just installed. So click the Choose button. And yes, it finds the Alpaca discovery, but I want the ASCOM driver that I just installed. So here it is. And of course, we must add all the correct properties to it. So we click on Properties, and it brings up the driver dialog box. We have to fill in the IP address of the controller, and we're using port 2020. There are other tabs, of course, for setting delay contacts and automatic reconnect and send on connect, etc. And I won't cover those now because they're adequately covered in the PDF. So this is what we've got. and that looks correct. So I'll click OK, and if I click OK here, it will connect the ASCOM Test app to that driver, which then talks to our controller. So let's do that. We'll click connect, and notice we're already connected to the controller. I'm getting the same basic things we had before. And can I do a move? So let's do a unlike 2176 move, and we would expect these moving to change, and we see the position will change as well as we're actually moving down to 2176. So you can see all of that's working, and that's using the ASCOM driver. And if you read the user guide, it'll tell you a wee bit more. Well, next on the list is curl, and curl is a way of getting information or setting information for the controller. And I've talked about some of these before and demonstrated how you can actually do this in a web browser. So let's go and get position, and the format of the command looks a bit like this. And the IP address, we have PO, we want to get some information back using that URI, and we're going to accept some text response. And we get back the current position, which is 2176. If we wanted, for example, max steps, then this would be MS, and it's 20,000. To have a look at INDI, and of course there is a user guide, but no driver or whatever to download, and we would test that you're running this on a Linux system. And Ubuntu mate, let's start up K-stars. So I've got Ubuntu mate running, I've clicked on K-stars, this is it here up and running. I'll go to the observatory tab, and I need to create a profile. So let me do that, and I'll call it myesp32s3. Yeah, I'll turn off auto connect, and I'll set up a simulator for the mount. Simulator for the camera, simulator for a guide cam, and for the Focuser DIY My Focuser Part10, written by Alan Townsend. And we'll go save this, and that's fine. And remember that I've turned auto connect off, and if I start this, my Focuser Pro is on a network, it's 0.142, it's got a port of 2020, and it's TCP, and I'll go close. Now here's the INDI control panel, and we're currently not connected, that's fine. We just check the connection details, and it all looks good at present. LAN search is disabled. Underneath options, I need to change this polling time to be like 3 seconds instead. And I'll save this, and I'll go back to connection, and all that looks good, and I'll go to main control, and I'll connect. I'm on this tab, not the other tab, the Focuser tab. Connection, it's got motor speed fast, it's an absolute position focuser, and the position is 1676. We have max steps, etc. Reverse is disabled, and if we have a look in settings, I've also got temperature coefficients, temperature compensation, backlash, step mode. It's currently set to half steps. The display is currently on, and coil power is off. So all those parameters there look good. Just close that up. Right, so I'll go back here, I've disconnected and stopped it. So this is what we've got now. And if I start this and I connect to it, you notice this, a whole lot more icons appeared. This is the Focuser. And it's telling me it's position 1676. I can start autofocus right if I want, and so on. So the myFocuser Pro10 is working without any issues. Next is the Index app, and in order to use that, you do have to compile it. And I did a quick search on the internet, and it told me how to install Lazarus. So I've got Lazarus installed, and we'll just go ahead and open this, and we'll open the project, which is in a particular folder that I placed it, and I want to open the LPI file, so I'm going to do that. And this is the text editor here. This is the actual application form itself, object inspectors and so on. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Run tab, and I'm going to go Run. So this is just using the files that were downloaded. And here we have the actual application itself. It's compiled and ready to go. I had the application running now, and I used Lazarus to generate all of this. Went into connection tab, set up the IP address, set up the port, and connected. And we have a socket timeout in case you're on a very slow network. You might want to adjust it. Only works when you connect, and that's the only time that it's actually set. So we can connect to this. We've got we can read the INDI file and save it. And the INDI file is a file that contains all the settings. So everything in here that you set is in that particular file, and that's how it can reload that when you reconnect again. So let's go like and tell it to go to. We would expect it to start moving, so the idle status should go to moving, and we should expect we have here 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's what we're going up to. And the moment it reaches 4, 5, 6, 7, it'll stop. So as you can see, it's offsets to control the temperature. You get various motor settings, set it to full step, and so on. Backlash, display, logging, and connection tab. There is no key maps or alternate keys in this application. So last of the applications is the Windows application, and you can download the app from the link, etc., and there's also a user guide. And I've put this obviously into the project folder underneath Windows, and it does provide some very interesting things that have been sorted out in other projects. I'm in my project folder, and I'm ready to install the Windows app. And of course, if you download an update, same thing as before, you have to place it into the folder where you originally installed it. If you've forgotten and deleted it, well, you have to remove the app. And when you remove the app, you lose all your settings for it. Okay, so let's run setup. And it's a, oh, and it's not anyway, because there's no virus or anything associated with this. It's just because Windows hasn't detected that this program is run on 1,000 PCs yet, as it were. So we'll run anyway. And here it is, and the install page, and we install it, and it's going ahead and installing this. And we'll say run anyway. Right, So when you first do this, the forms always default to 0, 0. But when you reposition them, and I just dragged it around, then what that means is this position of the form is going to be saved when I exit the application. So let me just very quickly set up a log files. Right, so I've set up the log file directory. This is the actual application itself, and first thing we do is we are going to test this. So I set in the IP address of the controller. I set up port 220, don't bother changing anything else, and I just click connect. And you can see here it's racing along, downloading all this information. T for temperature, it's 20 degrees. SM step mode, and it's half step modes. Motor speed is set to F, which is fast. It's currently not moving, and the position of the focuser is 3500. And of course this is the connection status, which in this case says connected. So that's like a sort of mini bar, if you like. Okay, so that's the focuser, and we can easily change these things. Remember, 2176, go to, and it's now moving, and you can see the position moving as well. And when it gets to 2176, it'll stop moving, it's now idle, and so on. The majority of these are explained in the PDF, so we'll just go through this quite rapidly. The temperature, you can adjust the temperature, so if it was returning like 20 degrees but it was actually 19, you could go -1, and that's the way of adjusting the temperature. So if I do that and go -1, okay, that's fine, set this. So whenever you want to change something, the last button you click is set. So that's an adjusted temperature. The coefficient can be quite easily set like this. And it only accepts full numbers. Presets, we don't have to get in because I haven't set those up in here. Motor, I'm just on the presets. CP means copy the existing focuser position into the preset, and I can add preset labels, and so change that one to home. Get set, that will set a preset, and will go to that position. Motor, again, all the normal ones you see, fast, slow, push button, step size, you all name it. And I can set multiple things at once just by changing it to what I want, and then clicking set, and so now those things have been set. Backlash display, because I'm using a text display, I can actually turn off pages like this. I can adjust the brightness and just click set, and that'll set all of those. So it's going to skip those pages which don't have the checkbox enabled. Application stuff, if you're on a slow network, you could increase this a wee bit. Logging, of course, connection tab, and it's languages, quite straightforward. Various settings. Let's go keys. Let's find the shortcuts. These are shortcut keys. So for example, if I go Alt B, it will go to the backslash tab. So I'm holding down Alt, press B, and I'm on the backslash tab. See that? That's quite cool. And on key mappings, I'm going to, this is a hidden tab, and so you specifically has to go in here, use the keys menu to turn it on, because it's off by default. And I can say, okay, well, if I want to go minus 500 steps, that's equivalent to, let's just make it Alt F1, right? And I'm going to enable these. So Alt F1 will go minus 500 steps. So I'm going to go all the way back to the focuser. So minus 500 steps is Alt F1. So I'm holding down Alt, press F1. And there we go. It's gone 500 odd steps. So all of that's quite easy to do. It's an app you can have a lot of fun with. And that concludes applications.